You're tuned in to the Mind of an Entrepreneur show with your host, myself, Sajda Wendy Muhammad. I am a multi-million-dollar business developer. I have developed business and real estate around the world, and I want to share with you my mental strategies, my technical strategies, and how I made it in the world of business. So I don't teach theory. I tell you about my life and introduce you to people who can also share with you what they've done to become successful. This is a practical show. This ain't a theory show. You don't want to miss it. So stay tuned.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in my judgment is the master historian, taught us that of all our studies, history is the most attractive, and it is best qualified to reward the researcher. History is most attractive. Why should history be most attractive? Because history is the recorded time of the human family in its struggle to overcome obstacles. There is no life that is without struggle. The Holy Quran teaches us that man, meaning man and woman, is made to face difficulties. And after difficulty comes ease. But it is history that guides us through difficulty. For if you know how people who had difficulty yesterday got through, and if your difficulty is somewhat similar, then today we also can get through if we follow the guidance of history. This is why Carter G. Woodson and many of our black giants fought for black people to know our history. Because in not knowing our history, we don't have a guide. And without a guide, we are lost. No wonder the Bible...
You belong to yourself. You're an independent people, created from the nation of free people. Yes, sir. You don't need to go nowhere but to yourself. Yes, sir. There will be a great separation. Yes, sir. So I said, it is on now.
College is meant to prepare you for your future.
that the time dictates that if we don't do something for ourselves as a people, we will be destroyed. And the aim of the enemy right now is to take us out.
We have God with us. We have Him as our guide. Yes, sir. We don't have to stand around here and ask the question, what must be done? Yes, sir. Get up and let's go and do something. Yes, sir. We cannot sit down. We cannot lay down. Yes, sir. We must get up. Yes, sir. And go to work.
Do you know what real joy is in life? Visioning something and bringing it into reality. That's real joy. Do you know what the next step in joy is? Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell in unity.
Tonight, you need to fasten your seatbelts. We're going to hear from some of the greatest minds in the world. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of trusting our future and the future of our children into the hands of those who don't love us. I believe we need to revitalize black leadership.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Mo Today series on Black Muslim businesses. And I'm so excited. One of my good brothers, my good friend, Brother Toure Muhammad, is going to join us. We got a lot to talk about. So get active in the chat. Make sure before we start that you like and subscribe to this page. We got lots of content out here. We've been doing series on Black Muslim businesses, and we got a lot of key Black Muslim businesses in our community. We're growing. We're doing better every day in every way. I have a series on manifestation, how our thoughts become things. That's here on the channel. We got a whole series on the accomplishments of the Muslims. We're talking about industries and economic analysis right here on the Sajda Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel. Let me see what else we got. Then we got the Sajda Saturday morning coffee talks where we talk about life, love, and business. And we've been doing lately a series on the women of the Bible, and it has been powerful. And so this Saturday is a special day for me today. It's the day that I started my journey as a Muslim. September 9th is when I got my ex. And so that's my spiritual birthday. So we're going to celebrate. But before we do that, let's get into this show. Let me set this up right for my brother Toure. So I was doing some research. And according to Crane's Chicago Business, Chicago's Black restaurant owners have developed their own recipe for success. And y'all know how we are as Black people. In the middle of tragedy, in the middle of trial, you don't let us in, we're going to find a way in and find us a way to get it done. And now that we're starting to unite and come together, it's going to get better and better. Well, the reporter for Crane's, Ali Maradi, reported that Black Chicagoans have long been integral to the city's restaurant and food industry. As migrants streaming from the South to Chicago by the thousands in the years following the Civil War and during the Great Migration, many found work in restaurants and other areas of the food industry. Did y'all know that? These new migrants or new residents brought with them a rich food culture, but segregation and discriminatory practices kept us from gaining a foothold in Chicago's culinary economy. Employers took advantage of Black workers in service jobs, and a stigma developed. The line between service and servitude became way too thin. And while restaurant ownership remained largely elusive, some Black food entrepreneurs developed a culinary culture around Southern style cooking. And you'll see where that has diversified today. And many of our well-known franchises like Lim's Barbecue and Harold's Chicken and Uncle Remus, all of which started in the 1950s and continue today. So in Illinois, statistics say that 9% of restaurants are Black owned. And according to 2017 data from the National Restaurant Association, which is the most recent available, the state's Black population was 14.7%, according to the 2021 U.S. Census Bureau estimate. Food industry experts say the numbers are likely even more out of proportion in Chicago, where 29.2% of residents are Black and where most of the state's restaurants are located. The lack of data is a concern. If the issue isn't measured, how can it be fixed? Those numbers also fail to capture restaurants that closed due to COVID, during the pandemic, and studies show hit Black-owned restaurants and businesses much harder than white-owned firms. The roots of the problem reach through the many levels of discrimination in the American economy, particularly in lending markets, they say. The fact that Chicago is one of the most segregated cities in the country has made matters worse. Well, guess what? That don't have to be. We can develop what we need right in our own community. Restaurants are inherently risky businesses. Y'all know that. Low margins, high failures. Many traditional lenders avoid backing businesses like this anywhere, let alone in neighborhoods that have suffered long-term disinvestment. The U.S. Small Business Administration puts it in stark terms. Minority-owned businesses are more likely to be denied credit, less likely to receive the full credit amount requested, and more likely to be discouraged from applying for credit. As a result, securing a loan to capitalize a restaurant can be nearly impossible for Black entrepreneurs. That's why, and I know that sounds like gloom and doom, but I needed to paint the canvas for you. That's why the mission that our guest, Brother Toure Muhammad, has been on, where he is capturing and showcasing Black-owned restaurants in Chicago, is so critical. It's so important because he's calling us to unify and pool our resources and utilize these restaurants, not only to expand our culture, but to employ people and to even take things to that next level. We want to see our Black-owned businesses to scale. We want to see them franchise. We want to see them expand. We want to see them grow and move beyond just a traditional business. So I'm going to bring my brother in here. But before I do, let me show you a little promo for Black Chicago Eats so that you kind of understand what I'm talking about. And I'll be right back with my brother Toure. Don't go anywhere.
Beautiful people, if you're in Chi-Town and looking for some grub that won't let you down, then Black Chicago Eats has got your back. The new directory is where it's at. We get all the best Black-owned spots, from the Bean to the Burbs. That's how we rock. Soul food, vegan, seafood too, Caribbean, Creole, and barbecue for you. Pizza, popcorn, sandwiches galore, tacos, egg rolls, and so much more. All cooked up by Black chefs with skill who put love in every bite. And you know that's real. On BlackChicagoEats.com, you can browse and choose by cuisine or neighborhood. No time to lose. Find new your own review and get recommendations from real folks like you. By supporting Black-owned restaurants, you're helping to build stronger Black communities. It's no nonsense. So don't wait. Head to our site today and start exploring the city, the flavors in every way. That's right. Don't miss out on this dope selection of delicious eats. It's a perfect connection between great food and supporting Black entrepreneurship. So let's show some love on the Black culture tip. Pull up because we all got a job. Pop out your car and scream, "We got cops!"
Okay, so my brother got Black Chicago Eats, but look like you got bars too, brother.
We got bars. We got bars for them. Somebody gonna respect them rhyming skills one day.
Okay, Black Chicago Eats. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. How you doing, Sister Sajda?
I am doing well. I'm so excited to have you here. I'm happy to see what you're doing with Black Chicago Eats. And talk to us about the brainchild of Black Chicago Eats. What made you think about this? Is it because you like to eat? Because you got carbs? What is it?
Well, that's definitely that's how it starts, right?
Okay.
You know, this started off, of course, with my media company, which at the time was Bean Soup Times,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when I began to look at who my best clients were, my best people that I did marketing for, it was restaurants, and of course there was black-owned restaurants, right? From Turkey Chop to Sean Michelle's Homemade Ice Cream to Brown Sugar Bakery and some others. I said these are my best customers, so I was starting to focus more on restaurants, and then a friend posted on Facebook and challenged me to make a list of black-owned restaurants. And I did a study. It took me about 2 weeks. I named all the ones I thought was out there. I started driving around, and most people were saying it's probably 20, it's probably 30, maybe it's 25 at most. And the first list was about 150 black-owned restaurants.
What
And
year was that?
this was 2015.
Okay.
So everybody went crazy. My website was shut down for 3 days because there was so much traffic coming to it. And I said, wow, something is happening here, right? So we thought about it. We started being creative and came out with the term Black Chicago Eats, or the brand Black Chicago Eats.
Mm-hmm.
We made that just a listing of just a list of the restaurants and that phone number and address, and produce a directory. Mm-hmm. And from there, we began to just focus, of course, like you see, on highlighting these black-owned restaurants. And what is amazing is that from that time to now, with a big portion opening up during the pandemic. I'm talking about in the midst of the pandemic. We have over 450 black-owned restaurants, and we have a bunch of caterers in the wings looking for a brick and mortar so they can open up as well.
Come on, Black folks. Come on. That is beautiful. So let's start here. We talking about 450 black-owned restaurants, but we have always really owned this space.
Yes.
Of feeding and transferring our culture through food. How important is the Chicago Black restaurant scene to the culture of Black Chicago, in your opinion?
Wow, it is critical. It is a critical starting point or connection, if you will, right? Because no matter what generation we're talking about, if we go back to the civil rights movement, right, the restaurants, the black-owned restaurants, is where everyone was meeting to discuss the plans for fighting for civil rights and fighting for justice and fighting for truth. And we did it over a meal where we had, most time it was a Black woman, whether you had restaurants on the south side or the west side, from Etna's and Queen of the Sea. They would take care and make sure that we had the food and nourishment to keep going in that fight for justice. And then over the years till now, it's really part of, it's an experience, right? We want to go and we want to enjoy food with our family. We want to break bread and just have a nice, memorable time over some food. And so whether we're talking politics, whether we're talking economics, whether we're talking sports, right? We do it over food. That's just what we do. We don't, there's some of us who go and golf. Yeah, I mean, we do have that. There's some who like to do other social activities, but most time when we get together, whether it's outdoors or indoors, food is there.
Food is involved. Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of times when people think about Black-owned restaurants, they think about collard greens and black-eyed peas, fried chicken, some ribs, maybe a little hog maws. Is that what all these 450 people are serving?
Man, it is such a plethora of variety of Black-owned restaurants now. So, and that's one of the reasons why I found it so important to categorize us, because you would find us hidden under vegan. You can find us hidden under Asian cuisine or Mexican with tacos, right? If you go to different directories out there, you won't know whether or not it was Black-owned. Okay. Just if you're looking for just soul food, right? But if you're looking for upscale dining with high-end type food, if you're looking for, and of course, jerk, you got to throw jerk in there, what we expect to see. It's a lot of jerk. It's a lot of jerk food restaurants out there.
Fine dining. So we're talking about fine dining restaurants. Are we talking fine dining, like white tablecloth fine dining?
So I developed this category. I don't know if I heard it somewhere, but I call it upscale dining.
Okay.
Right. We don't necessarily have that fine dining yet, but if you talk about Bronzeville Winery, if you talk about chemistry, right? If you talk about maybe the Ale Station and Virtue, right? They're not that fine dining, but they're close to it, and the food can compete, but maybe it's not the white cloth, right? So I call it upscale dining.
Okay, I like that. That'll work. Okay, so we got them, and then what are we seeing? What do you call it? Food genres? Are we seeing?
So what you see now a lot of is the word that you mentioned earlier, fusion.
Yes.
Right? You have egg rolls with soul food. You have tacos with soul food ingredients. You have the jerk food that is really mixing, variety of Caribbean taste and desires. You have there's a new Haitian restaurant that has opened up, right? So you have so much variety of our diaspora that's represented that, and then I mentioned the vegan, right? And then of course you have the desserts and the fun food, right? So you have a lot more of those that have popped up as well. So pretty much any category that you could look for, if you have a taste for something from Caribbean or Asian, or we're not doing not too much, European. You ain't gonna find somebody doing maybe corned beef though.
What about Italian?
Italian. Well, you have one. You do have a lot that may have some pastas, right? And they're gonna have some different pasta fusions, and then you have one that is primarily focused on that, which is Truth Italian, which is over there in Bronzeville.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, so you have that. You definitely have the Italian. I'm glad you mentioned that. I almost forgot that.
Okay, and then on the sandwich side, we got a lot of different type of sandwiches. So we know that we got our famous Chicago Italian beef sandwiches, right?
Right.
What else we doing in the sandwich category?
So the sandwich category is probably, it might be one of the biggest ones, right? You have so many sandwich spots from Let Me Get 'Em in Bronzeville. Mm-hmm. And you may have something that is a mixture. He has corned beef, he has salmon, he has steak, he has a big variety of sandwiches, right? And you'll find that along with the sandwiches, if we want to throw it in there, it's the wraps, right? So with those sandwiches and wraps, you got folks that are doing a lot of different flavors and fusions, putting those together for that quick bite to eat. So I think I did a listing. I did a video and I listed maybe 20. I think it was the top 20 sandwich spots. Boy, I almost had to run for my life because it was.
I was gonna say, how dare
you? There. You ain't put this one in here. You ain't put this one in here.
You got places with so much personality. Like I saw you at my boy Danny Boy's place, and Danny just be up singing. And what was that experience?
Man, it was fun, man, because he is, you feel his warm and genuine spirit and energy. So it was nice to go in there and spend a little time with him. And he definitely has a passion for food and a passion for singing. So, at first I was a little apprehensive. I'm like, man, is he gonna really, he's always getting people coming there talking about, can you sing, right? He doesn't mind. He loves it. In fact, he might get offended if you don't ask him to.
Danny's always has such a warm energy, and I was just so happy to see his success in the restaurant business. So I haven't been there yet, but I'm gonna have to check it out. And then I saw you at my good buddy Eric's place, Bronzeville Winery.
Yes. So man, I absolutely, me and the wife had a good time at Bronzeville Winery. And you know, but when I first heard the name, I didn't run over there because in my mind, well, you know, well, I don't drink wine, so you know, I'm gonna get over there. I'm gonna look forward to getting over there. But then you get there, and yes, the wine bar is there for people to enjoy that if that's what they're looking for. But the food is really the main attraction at Bronzeville Winery, and
Really
we had a good time enjoying.
How about that cauliflower? What did y'all eat?
Lord, let me see. I know
Macaroni and cheese.
we had the mac and cheese. We had we tried the steak, the watermelon steak.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
And man, it was like we did like three
Yes,
different
cauliflower steak. That's really good. The watermelon.
We had
but the cauliflower steak is good.
Yeah, we had that too. Yeah, because I was like, you know, watermelon ain't gonna fill me up. So I'm gonna need to get something else.
Yeah, no, the cauliflower steak was good, and the veggie burger is good.
Yeah. What else? So, you know, of course they have I don't know what it stayed on the menu, but they have a new chef over there, new executive chef over there. So they're introducing a lot of new things too. So it's time to get back over there.
Get on back over there. And then we got our sister Carmela. No, what's her new name? Nala.
Yes, Sister Nala with Let's Eat to Live and the Foodie Spot. So whether you talking, you know, your traditional for the Muslims, that fish sandwich, man, she's doing that fried fish sandwich, that fried whiting sandwich is delicious. And you know, her culture is Haitian. So she has some Haitian Caribbean infusion in there, some patties and, you know, salmon patties and all kind of stuff. So depending upon which one you go to, you can get a real big variety. She has a jerk gyro, however people, whichever way, gyro, right? It depends on what side of town you're on.
Yeah.
And I always tell them, I say, yeah, you might say I'm saying it wrong, but you about to fix it up for me.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm so proud of Sister Carmela because, you know, back in the day when we was in the Vanguard, so in the 90s when we would just, you know how it was, just grinding and working all the time, there was two people that would always feed us, Brother Aaron and Sister Amy. And Brother Aaron had those panini sandwiches before it was even popular. People weren't doing paninis, but he would bring us those panini sandwiches. And then Sister Carmela, always would just, you know, hook us up. That's how we ate. That's how we stayed looking so good. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I remember her bringing the bean soup during Savior's Day weekend, bringing that for everybody who was working at the final call. And yeah, she's been doing it for a while. And for how long was she just donating food, feeding the homeless and going around and making sure that she did her part to help those who weren't hungry. So, man, she deserves the success she has now.
Does. Shout out to Sister Nala. So Brother Toure, now I know we like to laugh and be a little silly. Tell me about your worst food experience as you've been going around as a foodie. Don't say no names and don't give away details, but tell me about the worst or the funniest one.
Well, those two, of course, though, it's a couple that were bad, and nobody ever know, right? Not from me. They're gonna have to go experience it on their own. But you do have some people who review restaurants. I don't consider myself a food critic, right? I am an advocate for Black-owned restaurants, and I want to showcase them, and I want to tell everybody, here are some spaces to go to. Now, when the people come, the quality of their food is going to determine whether or not they stay around, right? I don't want that.
Restaurant advocate, BRA.
Bruh. Right. I like that.
But a bruh.
I'm a bruh, right. So if it's okay, if it's decent, I'm gonna let people know about it. Of course, if I have an enjoyable experience, I'm gonna let you know. But I've gone to some places where there's one spot in particular that people were talking about because it was new. Like and what's the old rap song, right? Have you ever know your friend's house eating the food was just no good? I mean, the macaroni soggy, the peas all mushed, and the chicken tastes like wood. You know, and I was, you know, you almost get offended, right? And then I don't always go in.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, especially when you done waited all day to eat.
You done waited all day to eat
like that.
and you just threw something together. Something was happening where y'all should just close that day, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's interesting because sometimes I go in spaces and they don't know Black Chicagoese or they don't know my face, right? And I really like that the best for my first experience. Mm-hmm. I don't want you to know I'm coming. I don't want you to get everything ready and everything is perfect for me. But it's not what you do on a regular basis.
Right.
So I had one, so first of all, now my wife is different. My wife is Yosemite Sam when it comes to reviews. Hey, if the food is bad, we stood in the car, she on Facebook or Google in the review section, like,
Just Linda not playing with them.
She don't play. And now she's a food critic. She would tell you the spices, the flavors, what they use. If it was canned, she know it, right? So
yeah, I don't play with canned food. Give me no
spot. I'm trying to beat her to the car so I can say, don't do a review. We're gonna give them, and if it's bad, we're gonna at least come back 2 times. I'm gonna try it again. This may have been a bad day, right? Now, at 3rd time, and you say, well, you Black Chicagoese, right, man? I look forward to seeing the review. No, sir. No, no, ma'am. No, you don't. We're not going to post it.
Wow.
So we've had places where we just threw the food away. It was so bad. Yep. Now, that's a small percentage. It's a small percentage, but it happens.
Yeah, because the restaurant business is a hard business. And most of us who go into it is because we love it. It's not even something you can play with. You know, there's some of us who just like the quick hustle and make some fast money. But with the restaurant business, you ain't going to make no money unless your stuff is good. So generally, people are passionate. The challenge becomes when they start trying to put together the systems and processes to make it consistent, to make it flow, reducing what you got in your head down to recipes so that the chefs on every shift know it.
Yeah, right? That's right. So I've told restaurant owners, like, when we're having conversations, and if you say to me, well, people love when I'm in the kitchen cooking, and our customers will come in to make sure I'm in the kitchen cooking because they just love how I cook. And they're saying it from a standpoint of they see the appreciation they're getting and the love that they're getting. But my response is, that's a problem. That is a problem if your customers only want to patronize you when you are there. And if you can't be there all the time, and if you got people saying so-and-so, and then they leave, it's a recipe for disaster, right? Long term, you're going to burn yourself out. So you have to have those systems and recipes. Now, this is a story about Stephanie with Brown Sugar Bakery. Stephanie is so cold with it. We sitting there talking one day, and her baker brought out a slice of cake, and she was sampling the cake. And she tasted it and told him, no, how many eggs did you use? And he started fumbling and mussing. She said, no, tell me the truth. How many eggs did you use? And when he told her the number, he said, it's not the amount of eggs. And all that, the whole cakes, all those cakes were wasted. I said, now that's quality control. And that's how you know your product so well. You know when one ingredient is not done to perfection.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's a system right there. So you got to have systems, and you got to be able to duplicate yourself because you can't be the top chef your whole life in your restaurant. You're gonna be tired.
You know, in the culinary world, what has developed, over the past couple of decades are celebrity chefs.
Yes.
And how many celebrity chefs are we starting to get to know and build up here in the Chicagoland area?
Man, I keep saying to myself, we have a few, right? But we don't have, it seems like the plethora that you may have in LA or Atlanta and some other city, New York. And I think part of it is that our chefs here have the skill and they have the personality, but they're not as focused on social media and creating content like some others are across the country, right? So they
Yeah.
go on TV a couple times, right? But then they don't parlay that into a brand that they can use on social media to grow their visibility, have recipe books, have gear, and they don't do that as much as they do in other cities.
And not only that, I think a lot of our Black-owned restaurants, I don't know if we have any that are the AAA Diamond rated or Michelin star. And so oftentimes it's those chefs at those restaurants that get that extra boost in marketing. So we just have to start helping, and maybe we can do a feature where we're featuring some of our personalities, chefs with the personality. Because you had the brother, not Eric, but the other brother at Virtue who was on, what was he on? It wasn't Chopped. He was on the Food Network, one of those shows.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you're talking about. I can't remember his name right now.
But yeah.
And then Chef Lamar over at Brownsville Winery was on a couple.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I think, of course, doing more of those, but you don't want to wait just for that opportunity, right? And you have some of these chefs that have become celebrity chefs because they have 200,000, 1 million followers on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. So they've created their own space in their own lane. So I think that more of us in Chicago, more of the chefs could be doing that. Okay.
And then how many restaurants are still around that maybe made it since the 60s? Like the Gladys's and the Pearls, are those places still around?
So Gladys's, there's a niece or a relative, I believe, of Gladys who opened up on 87th in the Marynook area. And then she was there maybe 2 years. And then I believe now she's moved out to the suburbs somewhere.
You got MacArthur's.
Well, you got MacArthur's. And outside of that, it's really, you talking about Uncle Remus, Harold's, right? Doc's. Well, I don't know if Doc's was in the 60s, but they were around for a while, right? And Doc's now, I think the majority of them are in the family of the original creator of Doc's. First it went corporate for a while, and it was corporate owned, but now it's back family owned. You don't have, your Army and Lou's, your Isolas, your Etnas, all of them are gone, and I think there was kind of a moment in those in the 90s, in the early 2000s, maybe, where the taste was shifting and people were saying, well, I will support Black owned, but I don't want to go I'm tired of soul food. Right. So that I think and the chefs have responded, because you have some who have traveled the world, right, and they've brought back different flavors. You have some who, of course, have gone to top schools where they've learned these fusions. So you have that variety now, which is just not soul food anymore, just not jerk anymore.
Are we including African restaurants in that number for Black Chicago Eats? Okay.
Yes, absolutely. We got Yasta and Gory and the ones up north. Yeah, absolutely, because they are part of the family.
So when you're talking about Black Chicago restaurants, where are we primarily concentrated? What of the 77 neighborhoods?
Well, if I had to say what maybe the top one is Bronzeville.
Really?
Right? Bronzeville has a lot of Black-owned restaurants, and it may be the majority, But then as you start, Chatham has a lot, South Shore has a little bit. But what's amazing is that we're everywhere now. We're up north,
Right.
we're downtown, right? Of course, we're in different suburbs. But if we're talking about Chicagoland area where the majority are, I would first say South Side. We have more on the South Side than the West Side. The West Side get mad at me, but I'm saying the numbers. Men lie, women lie, but facts, facts. That's what it is, right? And Bronzeville probably is number one, right? And where else? Maybe now there's a little pocket in Evanston, but it's not that many, but you probably got maybe 10, 12 in Evanston area. But Bronzeville is about, I think the our last count was maybe about 30.
That's good. That's
right.
excellent.
I mean, if you just think about going up and down 47th Street, right, from the lakefront all the way to the Dan Ryan, that's about that's about 10, maybe right there.
You're right. You're right. You're right. That's excellent. So we got the directory, Brother Toure. How do you intend for us to utilize this directory?
Man, that's a good question. That's a good question. And that, I embrace when I get the calls and the inquiries on social media because it means that people are engaged, right? But they call me for things that I have on the directory, right? And the reason that we put the directory out is because I can't hold all this information in my head. Like, where can I go for brunch next Tuesday? So the directory, definitely, you can go in there, you can search by neighborhood, you can search by cuisine type, everything, of course, from takeout to sit down to, I try to give as much detail as possible about each restaurant. And then I want people to start giving us reviews, right? Because I want to be able to start acknowledging different restaurants for what they're doing. And I want it to be authentic coming from the people, right? We have some people choice, and because, no matter, it's like sports. It's like, no matter what I say, people are going to have a different opinion. If I say this is the top restaurant, oh, it's trash. It's trash. Okay, well, let's have a collective because it's too much pressure for you all to just want me to say who's best. But I want people to say it.
So I see. So if I'm coming to Chicago and I'm intentional about supporting Black businesses, and the first thing I got to do when I touch down is eat. What we want you to do is go to blackchicagoeats.com and figure out, based on whatever you got a taste for, what you can eat. If you live here in Chicago and on the weekend, you say, you know what, I'm treat myself. Don't just drive up and down the street. Go to blackchicagoeats.com, find a restaurant and support a Black-owned restaurant.
That's it. Yep, that's it. And look, and you'd be surprised what you find. There is a Black-owned barbecue spot on 83rd and Stony Island, Sister Sajda. They don't serve any pork. No pork touches the grill. Beef ribs, Angus burgers, wings, turkey tips, whatever you want, except for pork.
What's the name of it?
Oh, Medley. I'm sorry, Medley Barbecue and Grill. And they have a little outdoor area in the back where they have different events. It's a wonderful, wonderful spot.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So people don't know stuff like that, right? And then, of course, for those who are vegan, I mean, you have so many choices. Everything from soul type food that's soul vegetarian or soul veg to Majani's to fun food for Can't Believe It's Not Meat, right? Which they have, I believe, 3 locations, one up north, one Hyde Park, and one in Orland Park.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's a lot of.
That's on 53rd, right?
Exactly, right next to what used to be the Soul Shack. I think it's being changed to something else right now. But I think it's the same people though.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we got vegetarian options. What about pizza?
So you do have a few pizza spots, or at least they serve pizza, right? But I think the main one that is a pizza and sports bar is Williams in the South Loop. Then there's one out on 159th, Dream on the 9, I believe. So, and then you do have, like I say, a few that do serve pizza as well. But those are, I think, the two primarily pizza spots.
And I gotta ask, I know fried chicken is everywhere.
Oh yeah, everywhere. You can get it. You can get it. Look, you can get it downtown. Everybody. I mean, and we say what you want to about soul food and being tired of it. We still want some fried chicken and some mac and cheese and some greens.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You ain't the only one that like fried chicken, so. Toure, what's next for the directory? You know me. My mind is going. I'm thinking about the app. I'm thinking about contests for the best fried chicken, the best tacos, the best Italian beefs, or most personality. And I'm thinking about just, I know you are not really a food critic, but I can see like blogs and articles, and I mean, the sky's the limits.
Yes, that's right.
And I got to ask about when we doing another taste.
Yes, we're going to do another taste of Black Chicago, God willing, next year. We want to expand it, right? I want it to be a 3-day event, and I really want to have some opportunities to showcase some food specialties, have some chef demonstrations, right? Be able to have even I want to bring in some folks that can teach about or give some basic tips about urban gardens. So people that maybe want to do something at their home. We want to really
farm to table, right?
Yeah, farm to table, right? Which is what Let's Eat to Live is doing, that sister. I
saw it.
Yeah, so we want to encourage more of that. So a 3-day food festival where we can do that. And so we want to find the perfect location to do it. And depending upon if we still do it in the summertime, it'll be outdoors, or we may be indoors and we bring it inside. Mm-hmm. But we want to really, really connect farmers, our community, and our restaurants in a very unique way. So we're looking for that. Be looking out 2025.
Okay. And
2024.
2024. Oh, 2024. Okay. Well, okay. You around the corner then.
Right.
That's exciting. Good stuff. Anything else you want anybody to know before we go?
Well, listen, for people who don't know, you see my t-shirt, We Got Cobbs.
What does that mean, Brother Toure?
That's what I want to tell people. So growing up in Chicago as a child, when somebody walked up to you, or they came outside, or they came into the room and they had food in their hand, if you said Cobbs, or I got Cobbs, they had to share their food with you. And if they didn't share their food with you, sometimes it might be a fight.
Oh,
the only way you cannot get them to share your food is if you said no Cobbs, right?
You had to say no Cobbs up front?
Before they said Cobbs.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you got to say it up front. You walk in, no Cobbs, right? And then you can at least have the choice of whether you're going to share with them or not. So this whole idea of Black Chicago East is us coming together and sharing with each other, right? And showcasing and highlighting and promoting the wonderful food that we have and the amazing culinary art scene in Chicago for Black chefs. So, so we take it to that level, and we wanted something that would stand out, that was Chicago, but it was universal. So, we do also want to start. I dipped into Atlanta during the summertime, and we highlighted a few restaurants in Atlanta. But so we're gonna start hitting Milwaukee and Detroit and St. Louis and highlight. It's still gonna be Black Chicago East, but it's gonna be like Black Chicago East. We coming to judge you now. We coming to see what's happening in your city.
You need to add Cobbs to the Urban Dictionary. Like that need to be on the website. Cobbs bean.
Yep, I think it is.
Because how this is funny, and I'm not trying to be, but what white people have done with our culture vultures, they come, they get the culture. We don't like ourselves anyway, so we don't We don't want to do it. We don't want to be bothered with it. They get our culture and then they make it systemic and put a process with it so that everybody can follow along.
That's right.
So
That's
TikTok,
right.
if it's a dance, it's like, okay, then there's one and
Right.
two, and then they keep learning it. And then now all of a sudden everybody's like,
Everybody's doing it better than us.
That's right.
Yep.
Doing it better than
Right.
us.
Hey, but first they mock it. First they mock it so that we start turning away from it. And then they pick it up.
And then they go, oh, y'all don't want it, we'll take it.
Right.
So, I'm all about telling us, listen, let's own and monetize our culture. Our culture is not ratchetness.
Right.
So we can stop being creatively ratchet.
That's right.
And let's be creative, because in our creativity and in our authenticity is our connection to Almighty God, Allah. And that is a way in which we can monetize our future, because there's nobody like us. We're all unique. We all showed up on the planet to do something different. And we can all agree on one thing. We like food. And so we can get behind Black Chicago Eats. We can get behind, I got it, we got Cobb's and all that. I don't know if with COVID you want to be taking nobody's food, but no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, sharing, just the idea of sharing and having your meetings at a Black restaurant.
Right, that's right.
If they have a little space that you can rent out. Last Thursday, Sister Aletha and some of my friends, they organized some stuff for me at Eric's place, and we had big long table there. We could have went downtown, but we're like, no, we want to support our own. And then we introduced so many people then to this new Black-owned restaurant. And so now when I'm working on projects and stuff and they say, oh, let's order food, I'm going find some Black restaurant. And then now they want to know, how can I get this all the time? So thank you for what you're doing. Please continue. Keep going. I'm looking forward to the taste. I'm looking forward to seeing it expand and all the things that's set up for you in the future.
Absolutely. And I want to say this too before I forget. From the little interest and not the focuses that I have, it's restaurants, it's community, it's history, right? I actually majored in history at Morehouse, and business, right? You are like one of my heroes. Right? You are one of the heroes.
Say that. Thank you.
Because you're definitely not only history buff, but you're securing and protecting our history and putting a space in place where people can learn more about the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and all of the Black entrepreneurs and people that have come through that wonderful building, a home museum, 4847 South Woodline, and opening up for you to help preserve other historical places throughout the city of Chicago that are important to Black folks. So I love what you're doing, and I encourage you, to keep going. We appreciate and value the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
I don't know if you hear from everybody that you should hear from, but people are amazed and fascinated by what you're doing.
Oh, praises due to Allah. That means the world to me, because I just have so much respect for not only us as a people, but especially us in the Nation of Islam. So I always tell people, if I teach a workshop or when I was on radio, if I do a podcast and one of Minister Farrakhan's members text me and call me and say, oh, you did it today. I said, okay. That, to me, that's my litmus test right there, because Muhammad has some of the baddest speakers in the world.
Right.
And so when they compliment me, I feel like, okay, I did the daggone thing. And so to hear you and the work that you're doing and, the struggle that I know that we're all in for that compliment really means a lot. So thank you so much, Brother Toure.
Absolutely. We salute you.
All right now. And so thank you for covering the Reverend Dr. Lou Rawls story and helping to get that covered in the Final Call newspaper. We got other media coverage, but when it hit the final call, I was like, all right, now we're doing something. And so we're just moving forward with that. And so that's the idea, Brother Toure, just continuing to own and monetize our culture. No one person can do it. You got to do it. I got to do it. And we all got to come together.
That's right.
And take advantage of the knowledge that we're doing. You know, part of our problem is somebody may see me doing it and they may see you doing it. And then they go and do it and they say, well, I don't want them to help us. No, let us help you, because there's advocacy and legacy building and us coming together and uniting and working on behalf of that. So thank you. We had the press conference or just a little meeting and you and Brother Aaron showed up. I said, look at the Muslims. But it was really a fascinating story. And so I do thank you.
It really is. Absolutely.
Very fascinating. All right, but everybody go to blackchicagoeats.com. What were you going to say, Brother Toure?
No, I said we just got to go. We got to go to a Black-owned restaurant with a few people and break bread and talk about it.
That's what we got to do. That's what we got to do. We got to pick one and find some. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward. We'll talk, Brother Toure. Any coaching, consulting you need, you know I got you.
Yeah, absolutely. I need that. I need that.
Yes. And for everybody who don't know, Brother Toure has the cutest baby in the world.
Other than their own baby. Other than their own baby.
When we were at the training conference and I saw the baby and I said, how's this baby so cute?
What, excuse me?
I mean, let this baby is cute.
Get it from his mama.
No, he's just adorable. He's such a good baby. It was beautiful. So congratulations on everything, and we'll be in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate you and love you.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam.
All right, y'all. We told you we're going to bring you yet another emerging new market leader and industry disruptor on the Mo Today series on Black Muslim businesses. So the next time you sit down and want to go out to eat, go to blackchicagoeats.com. The next time you are in a meeting, because a lot of us work in corporate and they're always saying, let's find a restaurant to meet at. You make sure you go to blackchicagoeats.com and suggest a place. Many times we're in the conference room. I've worked on so many projects and the client comes in and says, hey, I'm ordering food. Where should I order from? Give them Black Chicago Eats and show them. And the beautiful thing about Black Chicago Eats is 9 times out of 10, these will be restaurants that these people have never heard of. And so they'll be excited to try it and try it again. So, all right, with that, family, I got a couple commercials to show you. We'll be back Saturday, inshallah, for the Sajda Saturday morning coffee talks, where we talk about life, business, and love. Yeah, we'll be back, and I'm going to talk about my spiritual journey on my special day, on the day of my spiritual birth. September 9th is the day that I officially became a member of the Nation of Islam. So it was actually September 9th, 1990. So I'm going to talk about that spiritual journey and what it's been like, and just see if we can do a little bit of encouragement. So don't go anywhere. Do not go anywhere. I'm going to show y'all a couple commercials, and then we'll be out of here. So don't go anywhere.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that history develops the springs and motives of human action, which display themselves most powerfully in the destiny of man. History actually motivates and stimulates human action. Sometimes you may not know what to expect from yourself. But if you only could read the autobiography of someone from among your people who has achieved, then that tells you what is possible to do. Black people in America have labored without understanding the realm of possibility for black people. And because we don't know what is possible for us as a people to achieve, we labor under the misconception that the accomplishments of Caucasian people should be our guide. And as a result, we keep on trying to be like them rather than trying to be ourselves. This is a result of being robbed of history.